Hello, I'm Dr. Ruth Newstifter, or Dr. Ruthie. It's just fine with me. I'm a professional sex educator, and I blog over at exploringintimacy.com. But today I'm here thanks to the great folks at Funwares, answering your questions about sex and relationships. Why don't you send me a question? You can tweet it at Dr. Ruthie, D-R-R-U-T-H-I-E, or you can email it at AskDrRuthie, same spelling, at funwares.com. Let's get into this question. Came by email. Dr. Ruthie, just found your site on YouTube and very, very interesting. Thank you, my friend. So my question is about premature ejaculation. How can a person prolong intercourse without finishing so quick? Thanks. That is a fantastic question and one that I receive a lot, so make sure you check through my videos and take a look at the different suggestions that I've had, including how to masturbate in different ways that can teach you how to prolong your intercourse time, and just talking a little bit about what premature ejaculation is. But let me give you a rundown of a few tips that might help you out here. Did you sign this? I don't think you did. Well, I'm not going to give your email, so I will just call you Fred. It's not your real name, is it? No, it's not your real name. All right, Fred. So here's your question, and here's a few tips for you. The first thing is, think about how you learned to get off and time your orgasms. For a lot of people, men or women, but frequently men when I meet them, and they tell me about this sort of thing, which a surprising number of people do, both professionally and personally. You never can tell what people tell you. And that's fine with me, is that they learn to masturbate by doing it really quick and sneaking, really intense. Some of it because of the joy of the intensity of masturbation, especially as an adolescent, but also because they didn't want to get caught, or they knew they'd get in trouble, or they felt ashamed and messy, whatever the case may be. So when we learn to masturbate in a way that's rushed and get it over quick and as intense as possible, what other pattern do we have for how we're going to have intercourse with people? Our body remembers that and just sort of starts to kick in that way. So one of my first tips to you is to practice masturbating in a way that prolongs the time that you are stimulated before you have your orgasm, or maybe masturbate at different times throughout the day without an orgasm and then, culminate with that orgasm when you want it. Whatever works for you. So practice like that should be a fun kind of homework, something that you enjoy doing. Another thing that you can do is to really focus on your breathing and where you feel your pleasure. Where you feel your pleasure. Isn't that a funny sort of thing to say? Well, of course, you're feeling the pleasure in your genitals, but you can also be feeling it in the rest of your body if you take the time to notice. Our whole bodies, no matter what sex and gender we are, feel our pleasure from our head to our toes. And you can tell this in the physical responses we have. When we get close and our toes kind of curl and stretch like that, when our eyebrows knit and we breathe differently, and our face and our chest gets flushed, when our muscles tense and relax, when our back moves, when we make those sounds we make or we try not to make, what's the case may be. These are signs of pleasure through our entire bodies, right? So we are feeling it everywhere. You're feeling it everywhere, even if you just think of it happening in your genitals. It's a funny thing that happens for guys when you really pay attention to how you feel and all the signs of pleasure that your whole body is having. And instead of having all the pleasure in that tight little spot, you feel like, the pleasure kind of radiates and can be in the rest of your body. That will help you to last longer too, and it makes the sex more amazing because you're so aware of all the pleasure you're having all over your body instead of just thinking about your penis. I also suggest that you breathe. You imagine, or you don't have to imagine, the pleasure's everywhere. You mindfully become aware of the pleasure all over your body and kind of just breathe into your whole body. Taking those deep breaths and relaxing will help you to last a little bit longer. Generally, when somebody's ready to have an orgasm, they tense up and they kind of hold their breath, which actually can help push you over the edge. And everything gets tense, and if you're anxious and you don't want to have your orgasm yet, then you're particularly tense and desperate and adrenaline rush and all this stuff, and all of those things will actually make you have your orgasm faster, or can anyway. So relaxing, taking deep breath, pausing for a moment, and shifting the way you do the stimulation with your partner, your position with intercourse, can really help. What do I mean by shifting? Well, as you're taking that deep breath, remember that intercourse is not all about just all the hard thrusting you can do until you can do no more. It's about all the different ways of pleasuring and exploring together with each other's bodies. So it may mean that you're thrusting hard, or it may mean that you're thrusting slow, or it may mean that you're trying different patterns, or it could be that you're pushing and holding and grinding together, or moving your hips from side to side or up and down instead of just in and out. and taking the time to breathe and touch each other's bodies with your hands, and whatever the case may be, get some ice cubes or something soft and fuzzy that you want to explore with each other. Kiss, look in each other's eyes and take deep breaths together. All of those things can really heighten the stimulation and make the sex last a lot longer and be a lot more memorable, because you had those moments of real interpersonal connection. No matter, how close you are with this person, you can still have great connection with them. All those things can help. Secret tip from Dr. Ruthie, which I've heard from other people too, but I really like this one. Don't clench your butt cheeks. Sounds funny, but pay attention to that. That's a sign that you are actually really squeezing and tensing up, and that you need to breathe and relax. That can help things last longer. Final point I want to bring up. How long is it that you want to last? You didn't mention anything about that. One of the most common definitions of premature ejaculation is when the man ejaculates or has his orgasm before he wishes it. Everybody's going to have a different definition with that, aren't they? So know that 30 seconds to a couple of minutes is really normal for intercourse. That's why we want to have a lot more things than just intercourse. We don't even have to call them foreplay. Hand job, oral sex, all things like that can be part of the sex. After all, it's manual sex and oral sex. The word sex is in there. It's sex. And these can be all part of the wonderful lovemaking sex time that you're having. Lots of orgasms for your partner if they want them. And perhaps, depending on your age, lots of orgasms for you too, with all these different forms of stimulation. You can also bring toys into play. So all of the weight of your partner's pleasure should not be resting on your penis, really, much less your shoulders for intercourse. There should be all kinds of ways that the two of you are exploring and playing together. And just knowing that your partner is well satisfied, even if you don't have intercourse at all, can really make it a lot easier and more fun and less pressure for everybody. I'm Dr. Ruthie. I hope this answers your question, Fred, or whatever name I made up for you. And I will see you at the next video. Thanks.